Well, Coast Guard investigators are asking for your help as they try to identify a person they say has made multiple fake distress calls. Alex Glaze joined us live from Canton tonight. And I know, Alex, to some people these may sound like prank calls, but there are serious consequences.
Yeah, Denise, I actually spoke with the chief of response for the Coast Guard earlier today, and he tells me that since February 17th, there have been 16 false distress calls made, and all of those calls were believed to be made by the same person. And as you mentioned, this is no joking matter. This is a federal crime that could land you up to 10 years in jail and up to a $250,000 fine. And tonight, investigators are asking for your help as they work to identify the person behind these calls.
Tonight, federal investigators are asking for the public's help to identify a caller they say is responsible for at least 16 hoax distress calls coming from the Baltimore area.
Help. Is there anybody out there? Help. Anybody out there? Anybody out there? Help.
This is no joking matter at all.
Commander Roberto Concepcion is chief of response for the Coast Guard. He says since February 17th, the Coast Guard has received 16 hoax distress calls from the same individual in the Strawberry Point area of Baltimore.
Our men and women have dedicated their lives to saving lives out there, and we could be potentially putting them in harm's way or in situations that could potentially be deadly.
As the weather warms and activity on Maryland's waters increases, Commander Concepcion says there is a heightened sense of urgency to identify the person behind the series of hoax distress calls.
If we're being called to hoax calls and deployed it to areas that there is no distress situation or a distress situation doesn't exist in that area, then those resources are being used in areas where they could be used for folks who are really in distress.
And if you have any information about who could be responsible for these calls, you're being asked to contact the Coast Guard through their investigative service tip line. That number is 410-576-2555. There is a $1,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest. In Baltimore, Alex Glaze for WJZ.